What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Thrive Forever Fit Show. I'm your host, Jay Nixon. And for all the first time listeners, the purpose of this podcast is to disrupt your current way of thinking, inspire you to think differently, and give you the tools, the knowledge, and the encouragement to transform your life into something super magical, something super abundant, and a life filled with awesomeness that I know you desire and I know you deserve. So today we have got Ashley back. If you've spent any time with this podcast, you know that we had Ashley on a 6-month journey on a quest to lose 60 pounds. Well, she's come, that journey ended about 30 days ago. So we're bringing her back on after the fact. We're bringing her back on 30 days after the challenge, if you will, ended, so we can see where is she now? What happened after the lights went off and the challenge was over? Has she stayed consistent? Is she still doing what she needs to do? Is her weight loss still continuing? And I'm excited to catch up with her so you guys can get a snapshot into what is going on. For those of you guys that are not members of the Wellness Lab Launchpad, I would highly encourage you to jump over there. I'm doing a free training this week in the Wellness Lab Launchpad on weight loss. Going to give you some strategies, tools, tips, and principles for free that will help you on your weight loss journey. So just go to thriveforeverfit.com. On the homepage of the website, you're going to see a giant box. Click that box, join the process. It's 100% free, and we'd love to have you over there. All right, get ready for an Ashley update. Ashley, what's going on? I know it gives you a little announcement to let you know you're officially being recorded. What's happening?
Not much and so much and all the things.
Good. I know we just tried to unpack a whole lot of little things there before we started the call. So let's just talk about whatever comes up on the show. The real reason that you're here, not the real reason, we obviously always want to chat with you, but we're about 30 days post whatever we want to call it, challenge or event, or 6 weeks or 6 months or whatever it was. And so I just wanted to kind of catch up with you and see what's it been like since, because I mean, people get so used to things having an end date, and then usually when the end date comes, then that's when all hell breaks loose. So what has it been like the last 30 days? I mean, I'll let you go. What's it been like?
It's been really good. Okay. I had a little face plant after we wrapped up the 6 months, which we can dive into, but I got back up on my feet and it's been really good.
Okay. Describe the face plant. What do you mean?
I created like a new plan for myself after I was like done, even though there's no real done, but kind of like a next level, do you want me to mention what I was doing or no?
If you do that, I'm going to elaborate on it. So it's totally up to you.
Okay. So it's a program called 75 Hard, which I had looked at in the past. And honestly, I did almost everything already that was in that challenge, minus 2 workouts, with one of them being outside. So I'm like, easy. And then I just got really overwhelmed really quickly and kind of spun out and had some efforts and kind of like, and then I got centered right back up. I talked to you about it and you're like, why are you reaching for something new and different? Like what you're doing is working. And I'm like, oh yeah, because I've just been conditioned to do that. And it was interesting to be that far in my journey and still be like, oh, that's an old habit, And so I just started right back at what I was doing before. It's simple, it's easy, it works, and I'm in a really good spot now.
Perfect. Yeah, my thing with the whole 75 Hard, just so I can touch on that, because we probably have some listeners that have done it, that do it or whatever. It's a program that was conceptualized by Andy Friselli. And it's 75 days of drinking a gallon of water, 2 workouts, like Ashley said, one's inside, one's outside, reading 10 pages of a book, might be taking a cold shower, might be some other stuff in there. So I think it has merit for someone who needs structure in their life, right? If you're just completely a shit show and you're off the rails, probably something that you might try that might help you get some structure and some, keeping promises to yourself, that kind of thing. What I see happen with a program like that, I'm not just picking on 75 Hard, is the fact that it's a failing formula. So here's what I see most people do. Even the people that make it through the 75 hard, I watch them, and when they get to day 65 and day 70 and day 71, all they start talking about is all of the negative shit that they're going to do. I'm going to crush beers tonight. Haven't had an alcohol because you can't, there's no alcohol, right? 75 days, no alcohol.
No
I'm going to crush
alcohol.
beers. I'm going to have my favorite blah, 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 blah. I'm going to crush a donut. I'm going to do all the, I'm like, doesn't that just really take away from the entire process of the 75 days you just went through? I'm not saying you shouldn't indulge and have treats and things of that nature, but when your brain is that uber focused on, holy shit, I'm doing that because you told me I couldn't, it's failing formula. It's going to break down.
Yeah.
And I watch people do it, right? They do the 75 hard. They post the pictures every day. They look amazing. And then I see them in a month and they're like, I need to do 75 hard again. I'll let myself go. It's like,
Yeah.
why set yourself up for failure? So that's a long story short. That's why I came back to Ashley and said, listen, bro, you've been having major success. You don't need the golden goose. Like, you don't need something new. You just need to consistently keep doing what it is that you're doing. So I like that you picked yourself back up. I like that you failed fast. Like, I mean, it was like, hey, okay, not going to work for me. Here we go. So I'm proud of you for doing that. And I think there's merit in failing fast, realizing, hey, this isn't for me. I'm going to move on and I'm going to do something else. Like, not failing and then not doing anything, but like, you just got right back in the saddle.
Yeah.
Okay. How's it been since you jumped back in the system and got back to consistency and doing all the little things?
So good. Just so natural. It's like where my body and mind want to be.
Perfect.
You know, and we had a group training call the other night, and there was a gal, I think she's a little newer, was like asking about like having this brief plateau, and she's had great success. And like, I wanted to come through the screen, like, don't change anything.
Right.
Just keep doing what you're doing. But I was her 6 months ago, and I was kind of her a month ago, you know, but I realized that like a pattern of mine is I would go to the next golden goose or next thing, and I would have some success, and then I'd have some failure. And I could have just spent all of those weeks and months staying consistent with what is now easy for me. So yeah, it's been really, I think this is exactly where my body and mind want to be.
Well, and just so everybody listening understands, we all have done that and we all will always do that. Like, part of being a high achiever is always thinking like there's something else out there for me. There's got to be something better, right? Like, I want a faster car, I want a blah, blah, whatever it is. Just know that, like, on a journey like weight loss, right? There's no secret formula. There's nothing out there that you've never heard of before that's going to be revolutionary in your quest. There's nobody's going to create a pill overnight that's like going to revolutionize the industry. There's not going to be, you're not going to count macros or keto or paleo or Mediterranean or whatever it is. Like, there's no secret formula. If you've had success doing what you're doing, what you need to do is just implement more consistency and commitment to that process, and that progress will continue. But humans, like, I think, it's the world we live in now. Like, this instant gratification of everything has kind of ruined us, right? We can push a button on our phone and really legitimately have food, groceries, and food and groceries are the same thing. I mean, like, cooked food, groceries, Amazon, anything delivered to your house at a moment's notice. You don't have to get off your couch. And so we want that same thing when it comes to our physical body and our wellness. And it's just, I want to promise you, like, there's not a button you can push for that. And so if you're doing something that's consistently working for you, even if you, and I hate the word plateau, I think plateau is one of those words that the marketing people behind like bodybuilding and transformation and weight loss created, because they're like, we'll convince them that they're on a plateau. And when that happens, they'll need to change A, B, C, and D. It's like I said, your body's not designed to lose 100 pounds. Like, you're asking it to do some shit that it really doesn't want to do. So it's like, you're in a weird relationship. You got to convince that joker that, hey man, like, I'd really like to get rid of this. So where are you? Like, are we still losing weight? Are we down more pounds, inches? What's going on?
I'm down almost 5. So I weigh on Monday. So I think come Monday, I'll be down 5 this last month, which I'm really proud of, on my 7th month of this journey. And then I did get measurements this week and I'm down. It's not like insane quick, measurement, like in the beginning where it's like 22 inches, but I'm consistently moving down. And then I got like this scan that I've done since I was at my heaviest. And it was really cool because for 3 months, I've just been losing body fat and not any muscle. So it's like I've gotten a really, actually, my last 22 pounds of weight loss, I held on my muscle. So it's just, I think I'm just my body's just in a good groove.
God, you can't, I mean, that's awesome. Like you can't be upset with that at all.
Mm-mm.
Right. And so
No.
that's beautiful. I mean, I think, and so all, I mean, and really what you would attribute that to is like just following the process of you doing consistently what it is that you know you're supposed to do. And we've talked about this, pretty much on every call is like your life is a little bit unique in the format of like a lot of stress, a lot of things going on. Walk me through that. Like, how are you managing your stress right now? How is the process going? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, that I feel like that has two separate parts. Like one thing that's been helping with the stress and everything is like I was like losing sight of my wins. And so my accountability partner is like every morning you should like go back through the previous day, like what did you do well? What could you do better? Kind of rate it. So I've been doing that I think for a week and that's been awesome. Like that's really like lifted my spirits. It's like
Yeah.
given me drive to keep going and stuff like that. Cause you forget your wins, you go do this super hard workout that you never could believe you could do and you rock right through it. So
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And then a lot of my stress has to do with kiddos, and Mark and I just dove into this certain connected parenting type info and we got really on the same page about that, and it's brought some peace to our home. So summer's been great for that. So
Good.
just in general, like noticing the good and pivoting and trying to make things work family wise. So
Let's
been
touch
good.
on two things there. So we talked about like, we had our training call on Wednesday and we talked about a couple of those very things like get granular, right? Like just get small minded with your goals and stay uber focused. But that celebration piece, I think, is what a lot of people don't really, it sounds cool, right? It's like, oh, celebrate your wins. It's like, yay.
Yeah.
It's super important, right? Because it's a mental like reset of like, okay, like everything's not a dumpster fire. Life's pretty good. Like, look at what I've done, right? Blah, blah, blah. So give me an example. So you gave an example of kind of like, oh, I had a great workout. I can't believe I got through it. But like, what do you do on those days where it's like, it's maybe you had a really challenging day before? Like, how are you handling that process of the celebration?
I have journaled a couple of those too. So, I have to like look harder for what went well on those
Mhm.
days. But like talking about getting granular, I'll just, say I accomplished this little project that was, hanging over my head. But then I'm very careful not to get too critical on the what I can do better because I have to give myself grace with the pressures in my life. So, um, I really haven't had too many of those though. It's
Good.
mostly been wins, and you always teach like you are what you focus on. So like I feel like the fact that I can pull out my wins and see all that so easily, the blunders or whatever weren't as bad. But like Sunday, we partied too hard at our pool, Father's Day, neighbors over, and I had to have like a come to Jesus with myself that next day because like my body does not like alcohol
Mhm.
and I like alcohol, but my body keeps reminding me that that's not something that it really wants to partake in. So I had
Right.
to think a little harder about that
It's
and
okay.
that kind of thing. So yeah,
And I
learning
think
process.
I think as humans, like we get uber focused on. It's easier to focus on the things we do wrong and not on the things we do right. And then
Hmm.
sometimes when we feel like more is going wrong than it's going right, like it can really send us down a rabbit hole of destruction and distress. So I like that you just said, hey, I had to have a little team meeting on
Hmm.
Monday and was like, hey guys, yesterday wasn't our best day, but like today we're going to show up and kick some ass, right? Like you
Yep.
kind of coach yourself through it.
Yep.
Uber cool and great awareness on your part. And that makes it so much easier, doesn't it? Like you don't have to carry that stress of Sunday with you once you just say, hey, listen, we're going to regroup and reevaluate.
Yeah. And telling like my accountability partners, like, here's what happened and how it doesn't align with my goals. And like my particular accountability partners aren't like, oh, you're fine. They're like,
Right.
get back at it. Like you're better than this. So
Right.
that's really cool. But there was a moment where I was like, oh, I don't need to tell them,
Yeah.
and I did. I told them what I drank, I told them what I ate, and moved on from there. I didn't let it put me into shame. I didn't let it pull me down. I didn't let it go black and white. Oh, I did that last night. So today I can eat just do it again.
Right.
So there's a lot of new skills there that I've never had that are really carrying me through on this. And I was telling my trainer today, like, this is going to be my first like kick butt weight loss summer. I've never had that,
Yeah.
so I'm super pumped.
We talk. I'm glad you kind of bridged there. That's such a great position to take on this call. Is like summer's here, and it's like I always get uber confused. I had a coaching call right before this, and the client asked me like, what is it? Like, why is it? Because is it the temperature? Is it the this or is it the that? Like, so we live in Palm Desert, California. So it was 120 a couple of days last week. And so, she brought that up. I was like, is that what it is? And I said, my perspective on this is I live here too, right? I live in the same temperatures that they live in.
Hmm.
I don't give a shit if it's 125 or if it's 5. Like my goals don't
Yeah.
care. My goals don't care what the temperature is. And so you've got to get yourself to a place in a space where trust me, do I think 120 degrees is a excuse that is easy to use? Heck yeah, it is. And nobody's going to balk at you. Nobody's going to be like, me either, bro. Like I wouldn't work out in that either. But guess what? The successful, right? The ones that are going to separate during the summer, right? Separation season are the ones that are going to, like you just said, I'm going to end the summer losing weight. And I've never done that before. And so I think you've got to like, yes, look at the availability of your excuses and say, just not interested in using those anymore. And here's what I like to do. So this may help a few of you guys, and I think you'll love this because you're a bit sadistic like I am. I love it when I feel like everybody else is taking the day off. Like that just means I want to crush more. And I was telling the stories, like I used to love it when I was playing sports and I would notice you getting tired. Like if you putting your hands on your knees, you're bending over, maybe you're drinking a little too much water because that means I'm about to crush you. And that's where my brain goes, and it's sadistic and sick and everything like that. But that's how I win whenever everybody else is using an excuse. So I
Yeah.
love that. So what are you going to do? Like, what's your brain working around? Because I mean, you've got some built-in excuses, right?
Yeah.
You got kids,
So,
you got everything.
right. Right. So summer is really different for us, like very much out of our normal routine. We kind of quit everything, gymnastics, sports, whatever. And we travel and, all that stuff. So I am trying to rework my brain that all of these days are just another day. Cause I did that on the weekends. Like for me, the weekends used to be a trap and now it's just another day. So I'm trying to work my brain that that's the case too. Now, I haven't really tested that very well. I took a trip out to Palm Desert and I did
Mhm.
amazing. And I'm going to Texas in a couple weeks and I don't cook any of the food there. So like I'm going to have to create some new, ideas and habits to follow there. But I'm just trying to get my mind to be like, it's just another day. And, having a pool and hosting people and all the stuff that goes along with that, that has tripped me up. But I think it tripped me up, like you said, fail early. I think it tripped me up early on where now I can be like, all right, yes, there's mixed drinks. Yes, there's chips. Yes, there's this. Yes, there's that. But that's all stuff I can have another day if I want it. But just,
Right.
having my BCAAs out there and, taking pickles and veggies and all that stuff. Like I can be there celebrating and it doesn't have to be about food.
Right. I think it's such a great way to approach it. Is it's just another day, and if you look at it, I think when you get caught up in the fact of like, let's just say like the Saturday, right, and it's the party and there's people there and whatever, like some for some reason our brain kind of like shuts off and thinks like, well, this may be the last Saturday ever. Right. It's not gonna
Yeah.
be, right? Sunday's a hell of a day. Like you can have some fun out there tomorrow. So like you're gonna get to play again the next day. So don't destroy all of your progress because of that like instant gratification of like, what's Saturday? And it's oh my gosh. And another thing I was thinking is like oftentimes we treat our goals kind of like we treat like our fifth grader, right? And I mean, what I mean by that is like our fifth grader gets the summer off from school. They get to sleep in. They get to stay up late. They don't have homework. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes we treat our goals like that. We're like, and that doesn't make any sense because when your fifth grader goes back to school, they're going to roll into the sixth grade like, hey, party's here, let's go. Your
Yeah.
goals don't do that. Your goals look back and are like, well, shit, now what? I'm 10 pounds up. I'm out of my routine for working out. I'm eating like a garbage can. Like, and I got to restart over. So we got
Yeah.
to stop treating our goals as if they get a summer break like our fifth grader does.
It's so true. And when I ended that challenge, I just was moving right along. But then I was like, okay, my power move in that challenge was declaration. That was how it
Mhm.
all went. So I was just like, this week, I'm like, great, I have a new declaration. So I got on the page, did my declaration every day in my journal. I write out my little tagline for my declaration, and that breathed new breath into me too. Because instead of like backsliding, like you said, now it's like, I've got this goal. It's for September, it's in sight. And
Yeah,
so I encourage people listening, like, do that, have a summer goal. Because
totally.
honestly, now from the kind of the outside of my jacked up brain wiring looking in, there is no great time. I mean, literally, it's like, okay, summer, well, then you're swinging into fall, and then it's football games, and then it's holidays. I mean, there is
Yeah.
no great time.
No.
So
You know what?
make it,
Our lives have kind of been like created for us around holidays and celebrations and like the 4th of July. And like there's always something's always coming. There's always
yeah,
going to be a party. There's always going to be a graduation, a celebration, a wedding, a something that's going to present you with an opportunity to excel or to have your goals kind of take the back seat for a second. So I think that's really good. I love that. So I was on like an Instagram cooking show with one of our new clients, Van, yesterday, and she asked me, she said, Jay, what are 3 things people could do right now to like make a difference? And the number one thing that I said, and the number one thing I always stand behind is you have to make the decision, right? And the decision and the declaration are really the same thing. The decision is internal. The declaration is just the the sharing of that decision. But until you do that, like you did, like you said, I've got this new declaration and I'm going to start. You could have easily just like kind of muddled through the next 2 or 3 months, but you're like, no way, I'm going to shut this down. You made a solid decision, declaration, and then now that makes things so much easier because you get up every morning and you're going to write down that same thing, right? It seems
yep,
simplistic, but what
yep.
does it feel like when you're doing that?
Well, it every time I write it, it just cements it more in my mind. Like, this is going to happen. Like, no matter what, I'm going to make it happen. And that's how I felt with the 60 and 6, even though it didn't end up being 60. But I think it's important for everyone to always have a goal and not to make all these big goals and then be like, no thanks, but like get them in front of your face constantly, you
Yeah.
know? And you're right
Talk
about
about it.
yeah, yeah. Tell people. I was telling people the gym about it today,
Yeah.
like, and then the decision piece, since you said it, I have to touch on that because I private messaged you like 8, 9 months ago. And I was like, how come all these people are like 30 to 40 pounds down that started when I did and I'm not? And you literally wrote back, you just not decided you're worth it yet. And I'm like, what? And that was like a challenge and eye-opening and irritating all at the same time. But I think it's true. Like, I feel like I am kind of hyper aware of people that are like wanting to make a change in their life now. When you get in a certain car, you see people driving that car that you didn't see
Yeah.
before. I feel that now. And I feel like that tug to them, the success piece is they didn't decide that they're worth it. They feel the
Yeah.
tug, they want to do it, but they haven't decided they're worth it. And I just think that that's something super powerful you taught me. So thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I think what Ashley just hit on, if you ever work with me and you send me a question, please know that I am going to send back the answer and it probably won't be sugar coated. Like it'll probably just be, well, here you
Yeah,
go.
that
So
is
we got
truth.
that. How do you feel? Because I just thought about this. Every morning I write down like the same like 2 or 3 things, and then I expand underneath it. But almost get a smile on my face when I'm doing that. You know what I mean? When I'm writing down my like declaration and my thank you for the day, it's like I feel myself smile, and it's inadvertently now. But like when I'm writing, I can almost feel like I'm like, this is awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's almost like I'm living that life once I make the declaration to even write it down. And so I bring that up for people that are kind of like maybe poo-pooing or naysaying. They're like, well, I don't need to write it down. I'll just think it. I promise you, there's something about it. It's like it almost like anchors it. And it's
Hmm.
like, okay, well, I wrote this down today. This is kind of got to be what it's got to be.
Well, and I write it in the current tense. I don't know if you taught me that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did. So it hasn't happened, but I write it in the current tense. And so then, like, I'm truly believing that,
Yeah. You're
it's,
living as if that is the truth.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if and the person who lives as that is the truth doesn't act like it's not. Like they make decisions based on that being the truth. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I think there's an uber powerful context about just doing that. You got to start acting as if, and thinking and speaking and believing as if what you want is already there. It's already for you. And you just keep making those decisions to get to that one step at a time. Love it. So
Yes.
what else is new? Like what's new on the horizon? I think you said summer's a whole different gamut for you guys. You're going to Texas
Yeah.
for a little trip.
Yeah.
What else? What else you got?
I turned 40 on September 4th. So
Hoorah,
that's
happy 40th.
hoorah. So just booked a little Vegas trip and I want to be under 200. So that is my
hold on. I'm in Vegas in September.
right. No, you're not. We're never there at the same time.
I know. I don't think we are, but I think I am in Vegas in September. Hold on. Sorry for you guys that are listening.
I feel like every time I go, you just have left or
I will be there. You're going to laugh. I'll be there on the 11th.
Yeah, I think we leave on the 10th. Every time.
Isn't that
That's all right.
funny? Okay.
I'll leave behind some confetti.
Yeah,
but
fun.
That's the horizon for me. And I think just continuing to do what I do and having tons of awareness. Like I'm huge on not white knuckling, you know, if I want it, I have it. But like I let that get a little out of control this summer. So I've been practicing my like, I can have that, absolutely, but I'm not going to. So like I got that serious with myself, got that back in place. So I think this summer is just going to be amazing. Like I'm just excited. I can't wait till September till I hit that goal, and you better believe I'll be choosing a new goal after that and making that declaration.
I mean, summer is just another day, right? Like just because the calendar says something and whatever doesn't mean that we need to behave differently. Man, I am uber proud of you. I think this is awesome. I'm glad that we did this because what I wanted people to see is this. Kind of as I talked about in the first, about how like we have these end dates, and normally when the end date comes, then everything goes to hell in a handbasket and we start doing things like we did them 5 years ago. I love the fact that you had a little bit of a stumble, fell down, got up, and then got right back on course. That is a lesson for everyone listening, that there's no end dates, right? There's no finish line. There's no trophy presentation. Yeah, we're going to get small wins and celebrations along the way, but like the thing you really want is on the other side of that next step, and you just got to keep going for it and going after it.
For sure.
Awesome, buddy. Proud of you. Well, I mean,
thanks.
I think you thought this was going to be the last one, but now we have a new goal. Like, what are you going to do? You can't let the people down. You just set a September goal, so the people got to know. So tell me, what is the September goal? Do we have is it a number? Is it a?
It's a number, and I know I say the scale is just one measure, but I do have other things I'm doing in my life, by the way. So I'm like sitting right around 215, and I want to get to 199. Okay. And it's by my birthday in September, so September 4th. Out of the twos, for only the second time in my adult life, or third maybe. And then I added an Orange Theory. I've got this certain workout I've been doing at the gym with Cody that I want to keep moving forward. So definitely have physical goals, but the scale, I want to see that scale under 200.
Why not? Let's just get in the one somethings. Wouldn't that be all? Let's just do it. Let's just do it.
I'm pumped.
It's happening. Around. So what do we got? What's today? This will come, let's just say July 1st, right? So July 1st to August 4th. So July to August, so we got 2 months.
I'll save you the math. It's about 1.6 pounds a week.
Yeah, well, I wasn't even gonna try that. I'm trying to figure out how many months it is. I'm like July to August.
Yeah.
August, September. Yeah, I'm not even about to try to divide the math.
It's like 11 weeks, 10 or 11 weeks.
Okay, yeah. So let's say 11 weeks, and it's about 1.5 pounds a week.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go.
Party on. I love it. I love it. All right, buddy. Proud of you. And so obviously we'll be checking back in to make sure we're on that quest. And we'll see you again soon.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Hey guys, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode. See you soon. Bye.